Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to today's episode of Sedat HR Digest. We are always excited when it's Sunday and when it's time for us to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Today, we will be discussing the importance of employee assistance program at the workplace, and I can't wait for us to unravel the things that we need to know as far as employee assistance program is concerned. And we want to remind you that today's episode once again is brought to us by Sedat Consults and Quick Fix Creatives. You can contact Sedat Consult on 0244 629245. 0244629245, and you can also contact Quick Fix Creatives on 055-209-0057, 055-209-0057. If you have anything HR, any people need anything you need support with as far as managing employees, your workplace is concerned, Sadat Consult is the go-to organization. And if you want any firm that can help you design your flyers, give you good and quality designs, and also prints or take care of your printing needs, it is Quick Fix Creatives. And I want to say a very big thank you to Sadat Consult and Quick Fix Creatives for supporting Sadat's HR Digest. Don't forget to drop your name and location in the comment section. We want to duly acknowledge you and appreciate you for that. We know a lot of you listen and watch us, but we want to acknowledge you. So please drop your name, drop your location in the comment section, and I will read it out to acknowledge you. Also, in the course of the discussion, if you want to seek clarification of what we are discussing, you want to ask a question, please feel free and then put it in the comment box. We'll read it out for our resource persons to help us explain to you or to give you clarity on your question. Don't forget to like, comment, and share on all our social media handles. We are on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And before I introduce my resource persons, I would like to remind you of the Maiden Sedat HR conference coming on live on the 19th of October at Kumasi. We are coming to Osei Chrome, and so all the team in and around Kumasi, watch out for Sedat HR Consult. We are bringing on board seasoned experts, seasoned HR practitioners to share their experience with us. And last week, we got to know that the knowledge they will share with us will help to shorten our learning curve. We don't have to commit the mistakes they committed. It will be good for us. It's a platform or a period for us to network, to learn together, and to see each other. I am coming live, and I will be glad to see you there. All right, so we are ready, and our resource persons are also ready for us. They are ready to help us understand how important employee assistance program is to us at the workplace. And so this afternoon, I am happy to have in the studio a very fine, gentle man. He is an HR professional, a counselor, a certified employee assistance professional. He has sound experience in key HR functions, employee assistance program consulting, psychological first aid training, and addiction and career counseling. He serves as a subcontractor for Mensen Gold BBN Limited in the capacity as an administration coordinator, managing their Accra office since 2014. And I am happy to introduce and bring to the studio Mr. Frank Ahinkra. Hi, Frank. Welcome to Sedat HR Digest.
Thank you very much, Pat. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm just humbled. Thank you very much for welcoming and welcome everyone joining us too.
Why, thank you too. We are happy to have you. It has always been an insightful session, and we know we would definitely have one with you. Right, and we have today. I'm bringing on one fine gentleman, Charlie Nanley. I mean, experts in the subject we are discussing, and he is Ian B. Kwamina. Ian is also a certified employee assistance professional delivering strategic guidance on the development, implementation, management, and delivering of quality human resources through the intervention of experience, knowledge, skills, and continuous professional development while utilizing techniques and strategies that incorporate research and best practices. I mean, these are two great minds, and I can't wait to listen to them. So I'm happy to introduce and welcome to the studio Ian Kwamina, Mr. Please, I told him I want to call him, refer to him by his local name. I like local food, so it's good to go the local way. You understand? So, Nana, you are welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We are super excited to have you on Sadat HR Digest, and I know my viewers are also ready for us. They can't wait to listen to the discussion and to learn as well. All right, so we have Daniel Ekufu. Daniel says he's watching us from Oduma Sikrobo. Thank you, Daniel. Rhoda says she's watching us from Accra. Thank you, Rhoda. Stephen is watching us from Wale Wale in the Northeast region. Wow. Thank you so much, Stephen. I guess one of these days or these years we'll bring Sedat conference um, to the north, and I believe it will be a good place to also meet the team and all our viewers in Tamale. Thank you so much for joining. If you just join in, once again, that's a Sadat HR Digest, and today we are looking at the importance of employee assistance program in the workplace, the importance of employee assistance program in the workplace. And I've already introduced to you my guest, Mr. Frank Ahinkra and Ian Kwamina. Both of them are certified employee assistance professionals. And so I believe today we'll have a good time with them as always, and we would learn a lot. So we want to go straight into the discussion for today, and I want to go to Ian first. Ian, we want you to help us understand what employee assistance program is.
Okay, thank you. Yes, when we think of employer assistance program, it's really that employer supported program designed to alleviate performance or productivity issues that may result due to mental health, substance abuse, personal, or even sometimes workplace issues. So the goal of an EAP is really about having a positive effect on employee productivity and organizational performance. So, as the EAP, there are two clients: the organization, in terms of looking at their performance and productivity, as well as that of the employee, their own performance as well. So, the EAP is really a unique approach to addressing work organizations' productivity issues. And of course, the employee client personal concerns that may be affecting their job performance.
Right, is a unique way of addressing employee productivity and performance issues. Frank, you want to add up to what Kwamina has just shared with us?
Yes, basically that is what that he said. So I mean, just as he said, it addresses the bottom line is to help productivity, and companies can't grow productivity. Uh, I mean, comes from employees' performance, and employees perform when they have sound mind and healthy working environment, and that encompasses addressing issues both work related and non-work related, as Ian said. So basically, that's what Ian has just said.
Yeah. And one of the things I want to underpin here is when we're talking about EAP, we're really talking about a comprehensive EAP service. We're not talking about an organization that's providing counseling for employees who happen to be part of an organization. But when we think about a comprehensive EAP, it's really looking at offering personal as well as immediate support to employees and addressing the mental health as I talked about, but it also provides that consultation to management, to leadership, um, as it relates to a wide range of workplace issues that may be impacting employees, that may be impacting the organization, and that may be impacting the entire management and health and performance of the organization. So we really look at that in terms of a comprehensive service, providing a range of service ranging from consultation to consultation, to employee education, to assessment, short-term problem resolution, etc. So there's elements of preventative work and there's elements of reactive work.
All right, thank you very much, Ian. Let me go to Frank. Frank, how does EAP contribute to the well-being of employees, and why is it important for businesses to pay attention to it?
Well, thank you very much once again, Pat. Yes, EAP, if we would, as HR professionals, as we will be aware of, workplace mental health has become, I mean, most talked about issue in recent times, and employee assistance program plays key role in that regard. So yes, employee assistance helps um, organizations in many ways, and we'll still come back to what Ian said. EAP addresses, has two clients, the organization itself, the organization, and then the employee as well. So when we address or we deal with the employees as clients, it does not even deal with the employee alone in some cases. Some organizations choose who the EAP service covers. That is the employee and his or her registered family. So in this case, EAP helps organizations in that uh, non-work related, which could be marital, addiction, or issues that may have domestic issues that may have impact on the employee at work. It addresses that as well as the management or the organization aspect. One thing is CAP doesn't work in isolation in most cases. It works with the various departments like health and safety and HR department. So EAP helps the company to address issues, even such as interpersonal relations problems, performance related problems. And if employee performance related problem is addressed, basically the organization is benefiting. In that, I used to say that when an employee has malaria or fever, the employee will not be productive. But in most cases, management or the organization sees that as an issue. But where an employee has psychological or psychosocial issue, without EAP, the organization does not address that. But where an employee psychosocial or psychological issue or emotional issue is addressed, obviously the employee becomes productive. And in most cases,
Sorry, Frank. We lost you. Your mic just I don't know. We can't hear you, but I don't know if you would want to try and speak so we know if we can hear you. Hi, Frank. Can you hear me? All right. So whilst Frank attends to his microphone. Ian would pick up the conversation from there, and then I'm sure by the time we'll be done, Frank would be back to continue what he was discussing with us. So, Ian, yeah, so we want you to continue or add um, your contribution to what Frank has shared with us. Um, how does EAP contribute to the well-being of employees, and why is it important for businesses to pay attention to EAP?
Right. So when we think about EAPs, it's really important to understand the support that it can provide for employees. Long gone are the days where we ask employees, when you come to work, you just focus on work. That's not the reality. As employees, as individuals, we're impacted by so many things that are happening with our life. Persons who have families, persons who might be in relationships, persons might be experiencing some type of loss or trauma. They are things that are happening with us, and sometimes it can affect our ability to give our best 100% on the job. So we do know with EAPs, it provides that opportunity for the organization to provide some support, confidential, not having the expectation that HR managers or other managers or leadership needs to be counselors, but rather they are experienced professionals that are able to provide the support that employees may need, to talk about what are the concerns that are impacting on them, and obviously what are the things that we can do to be able to improve that. So it really looks at the performance. And sometimes when we think about, they may say that, okay, well, an organization is really about productivity, but we really look at the overall productivity and well-being of an employee, of an individual. Making sure that we are we address the concerns that they're having, and obviously what is the support that's available to them. So we address productivity. So we deal with so the fact that an employee is attending to a family member that might be ill, it may reduce possibility in terms of reducing absenteeism. It may also in terms of lessening presenteeism, the whole idea that I'm on the job, but am I really engaged in the work that I'm doing? So the EAP, by providing support to employees to address some of these personal issues that are affecting them, we reduce absenteeism, we reduce presenteeism. There's less likely in terms of turnover, because again, persons are seeing that, okay, this organization is there to support me, and therefore I will do my best to be able to provide that support. So I'm not necessarily looking to move to another organization. So it reduces turnover. And of course, we're looking at engagement. That is a big buzzword lately. How are we engaging employees? So by offering an EAP, it really helps in terms of providing easy access to the care and support that employees may need when it's needed. It has the ability to provide that support for a whole network of providers and consultants that can provide the support that an employee may need based on the issue or concern that they present. We obviously show an opportunity to provide that case management or that follow-up. So it's not just simply saying that, okay, here is a counselor or psychologist that you can go to, but the EAP really monitors that employee while they're receiving service and the support, and of course preparing that employee for the return to work, and of course preparing the organization for return to work as well. And a major piece that we look at is providing the organization with the tools to build a work culture that promotes mental wellness, which is a critical piece. So the work that we do, it's proactive. In some instances, it's reactive because we're addressing to and intervening to some needs. But more importantly, it's really about engage in effective, proactive work that's aligned to providing support for employees.
All right, thank you very much, Ian. And we have Frank back. And so, Frank, would you want to continue from where you left?
Oh, okay. I think that's okay, and I think from what Ian said, also tough stuff. So that's fine.
Why? So we are looking at um, how EAP contributes to the well-being of employees, and why it's important for organizations to pay attention to it.
Oh, okay. Yes, EAP has become important to or part of organization in terms of building employees' well-being and again for the organization's growth. In the sense that um, employees' well-being, EAP, as being said, has many components and not just only the counseling aspect, as we've said already. So it deals with performance issues and it creates avenue for what even one aspect that we call constructive confrontation. So in that regard, when a supervisor or a line manager observes decline in an employee's performance, and the manager has the skill which the manager will obtain through the EAP to engage the employee and refer the employee to the EAP or the EA service. So employees, EAP helps in many ways in terms of employees' well-being, of course. Um, it's not our health or well-being is not only the physical aspect, which has been the issue over the years. So when one is psychologically sound, when one is happy at his work, it's of course, and EAP also works in collaboration with other departments, as I said, like health and safety, where issues like work related stress our stress management and other well-being programs are also being conducted at the workplace. So all these helps the employee well-being. And of course, when the employee, we say that productive, sorry, is it productive employees? I mean, give productive uh, organization or healthy employees make productive organization. Let me put it this way. So EAP basically, as I said, helps in many ways. Um, it helps employees to be to be healthy, and that regard, it also helps organization to organization's bottom line, which becomes helpful or important too for organizations.
And Pat, allow me to add this, because one of the things I always want to stress is that, again, as an EAP, there are two clients, the individual employee and the organization. So when we look at providing the support to the individual employee or their family, it talks about the assessment, that 24 hours helpline in terms of support that's available for person. We're talking about short-term problem resolution. So it's really looking at identifying what are some of the needs that persons may present, and how it is we're able to provide that support for persons. It may be connecting persons to community resources as it relates to mental health or behavioral health or specialty services that they may need. We also spend some time in terms of looking at education and providing information as it relates to health and wellness, because it's not just simply um, being reactive, but rather giving employees the tools and the information that they need so they can make some of those life decisions on their own. So that's in terms of how the EAP provide that support for the individual employee or family member. When it comes to the organization being a client, again, there's a range of services that we provide. We're talking about crisis management, where we do provide critical incident support to address violence prevention or response, disaster preparedness. So it's always critical that in any organization, in their disaster or their crisis management plan, that the EAP is part of that process, so they understand clearly if a situation happens at the organization, how does the EAP support the organization in that role. Frank talked about consultation. So really look at that management and supervisory consultation and education that we provide to managers and supervisors, as I call them, team leads, persons who may lead teams. It's one thing where you have that technical skills to perform your role, but not always having that softer skill. So how do you engage and how do you communicate with members of your team? How do you provide that support, not with the expectation of you as a manager being a counselor, but rather how do you use your listening skills? How do you recognize when an employee who has been doing exceptional, but lately they're rude to customers, they get engaged in fight, or it may be constantly borrowing money. So all these are different signs, or as we call it, red flags that would tell you that, okay, something may be happening with this employee. This employee may need some support. So we provide that training and consultation with managers in terms of knowing how to identify those things and also how to have that conversation with persons. I recently had a call just yesterday with a senior VP in auditing, where they have an employee who was passed up for a promotion, and the employee felt that went into major depression. So as the EAP, we work with not only the employee but also that manager in terms of, okay, how can you provide in terms of coaching and mentoring for this employee? How to be able to have a conversation in terms of having that support for that employee. So those are some of the things that we do. We provide assistance as it relates to return to work. An employee may be out of work for an extended period of time as a result of disability or something along those lines. So, of course, we look at in terms of how do we prepare the employee to return, that psychological return, as well as how do we prepare the manager and the team in which that employee will be part of. How do we prepare them for that? We provide guidance as it relates to performance review. How do you have that conversation? If your organization is engaged in drug testing, what would that look like? And employee assessments, creating a drug-free workplace policy, wellness promotion and programs that to help support employees. A lot of the work that we have been centered around doing right now, especially after the pandemic, was organizational development, where organization would have gone through layoffs and reorganizing and restructuring. How to be able to address the changes that are taking place in that organization? How do we look at it in terms of rebuilding the culture? And of course, a whole host of other auxiliary services, like outplacement support, expat support, internal career planning, pre-retirement. So a whole host of services that we, as the EAP, we provide to the organization as our client, and then of course to the employee, the individual employee.
Right, thank you very much, Ian. If you just joined us, this is Sadat HR Digest, and we are discussing the importance of employee assistance program at the workplace. My resource persons are Ian Kwamina and Frank Ahenkwa, and we are enjoying. I'm learning a lot because I mean, people mention it's EAP and all that, and some people don't even, in fact, a lot of people don't know what goes into words and all that. But we are happy to have these experts on board helping us to understand all that there is when it comes to EAP. Right, let me go to Frank. Frank, what ways can EAP positively, in what ways can EAP positively impact the mental health of employees as well as their social well-being, and subsequently helping them to be more engaged in the workplace?
All right. Thank you very much once again, Pat. Yes, there are a couple of ways EAP um help employees and their mental health and yes. So one of the ways is EFP actually is service provider or provide service at the workplace. In that regard, as it creates avenue or an opportunity for employees experiencing issues to confidently seek help. And it is one of the critical things, if I should point it out, is EAP, in as much as it's actually voluntary for employees, but it is also one thing that we stress is confidentiality. So it gives it's free access. It provides employees with free access for them to address or seek help in terms of issues affecting their mental health. So let's assume if we take the two aspects of EAPs or the two models where we have the internal EAP or the internal EA professional or the external EAP, which may be an EAP vendor outside the organization. And as they are noted, we may have 24-hour service. So employees experiencing problem or mental health just call the service provider and then expresses um, his or her concern or issue where I mean, the provider or the internal professional addresses that. And one of the key things that we have to note is which also makes EAP different from other counseling service outside or the traditional counseling services. EAP provides short counseling service. That is after between 3 or 5 or 8 sessions where an employee condition, mental health, for instance, condition is severe, the EA professional then refers to a practitioner, I mean, outside the organization for a long-term treatment. So EAP basically has, as I said, has ways, and that is one of the ways. Another way that EAP also helps employees with mental health issue is, as Ian noted earlier, it's preventative or it's I mean proactive. So there are a couple of programs, wellness programs, and issues like and trainings which may even address emotional issues and stress management and anger management and all that. So employees benefit from these mental health programs or their mental health well-being in the sense that when an employee is trained in stress management or anger management, the employee will not develop problem out of long-term problem out of, I mean, stress. And again, we have the critical incident management where, I mean, when there is an issue like even issues like organization going through restructuring or redundancy, all these things are issues that may have impact on employees who may be affected and even those not affected. And EAP helps, I mean, to address some of these problems. So EAP actually we say works with like the physical aspect of our employees and with their mental health.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Frank. Ian, you want to add up?
Yes, certainly. So again, when we think of EAPs, it's really designed to alleviate performance or productivity issues as it relates to mental health, substance use, personal issues that employees may have. So how we do that? Again, by providing confidential support and resources to treat with, as I say, the life stressors, the things that employees that are affecting them. So it's providing support and providing those resources in a timely fashion.
Right, thank you. So, would you be able to share, or let me say, we want you to share with us some real world examples or case studies that highlight the tangible benefits that organizations that have experienced. Okay, so tangible benefits that organizations have experienced after implementing EAP.
Right. And I'm glad that you asked that question, but one of the pieces that I want to be able to highlight is that some of the direct or indirect benefits that you will get from implementing an EAP is as a result of effective prevention and intervention services from the EAP. So it's not just simply implementing a service, but making sure that the essential components of an EAP is there and we're doing what is needed. We engage in not just the reactive work, but also the proactive work. So if it is we're able to do prevention and intervention in an effective manner, then it would lead to some of the key areas that we always talk about. It reduces employee absenteeism, presenteeism, the turnover that you may experience, and of course, employee engagement. And in terms of an example, I remember there would have been a study that was done in 2007 with the Hartford Group and Hartford, Connecticut, in the U.S. And they looked at EAP services and what were the outcomes of those services as a result to short-term disability claims. So, of course, there's a high instance of disability claims in many organizations. But with the EAP, the implementation of an effective EAP, they were able to see that over a period of time, those disability claims specific to psychiatric concerns were shortened. They were still seeing some of that, but they were far less. So in some instances, it was 17 days shorter as compared to other organizations where it was like 56 or 73 days. So we're seeing instances where short-term disability claims have been reduced. We have seen instances where there has been less instances of absenteeism. And I'll give you an example where if an employee has an issue or concern with a family member that may be ill, and they're not too sure in terms of how to be able to treat with this. What you may find is that the employee may take more days away from the job to be able to address that. But through the EAP, where we're able to provide direct support and guidance and referrals to employees in treating with some of those issues, then the number of days absent may move from 10 days to maybe 5 days, because there's less time in terms of they trying to figure out, okay, how do I treat with this issue. So we're seeing definitely shorter durations of claims. We're seeing shorter durations of on the job accidents, because persons are more focused in terms of what it is they're doing. We're seeing more instances of less turnover and more engagement where an EAP has been effectively implemented. And again, I'm stressing effectively implemented, where it's not just simply saying that we have an EAP to give lip service, but rather as the EAP, we're partnering with management in terms of identifying what are the needs of the organization. Instances where we see a number of referrals. Let's say, for example, we've seen a large number of persons referring and talking about work stress. Okay, how do we provide support for the organization in terms of how do we address that? We're seeing persons coming to the EAP saying that increase in burnover. How do we address those issues and provide that support for the organization, and giving them some guidance and creating strategies and interventions and initiatives to be able to address that. So we're actually seeing some of these tangible benefits after an effective rollout and implementation of an EAP.
Right, you will see some of these tangible benefits after the implementation of an effective EAP. The word there is effective, and like Ian said, you don't just want to say, okay, so we have EAP in place, and it's, I mean, just to someone will say collect funds. You get it? We don't want lip service. It has to be very effective, and you can hear for yourself the benefits that you tend to enjoy if your EAP is very effective.
Yeah.
Less on the job issue, injuries and issues. Employees have sound mind to work, and that goes a long way to affect their bottom line. And it, like they've said, The bottom line is the most important thing. You get it. And if employees have sound mind and they can work well and put in their best and give you what you need, your bottom line would definitely be positively affected. And I'm learning a lot. Trust me, I'm learning a lot, and I believe you are equally learning. Or why? So we'll take this last question, and when we come back, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we would continue with our discussion. I want to go to Frank. Frank, what role does EAP play in creating a supportive and inclusive work environment, particularly in terms of addressing diverse employee needs? I don't know
All
if you got
right.
my question.
Yes, role EAP plays in supporting inclusiveness and diversity at the workplace. Is that correct? Right.
Absolutely.
Great. Yes, EAP, as I've been saying, is has two clients. That is the organization and the employees. So EAP comes in to help the organization through building the development of employees' performance and their well-being or mental health. So one of the things when it comes to EAP, and of course EAP professionals have mental health or social work background or counseling background. One of the things we have in the profession is inclusiveness or positive regard. So positive regard is like accepting everybody as who the person is. So EAP addresses plays role in that regard because it accepts everybody or encourages organizations to accept everybody, preventing discrimination. So when an employee has disability or comes from um, a minority group, or let me be specific, sexual minority group. For instance, the person may be LGBTQYX, plus, and management or a manager or a co-worker discriminates against such a person. EAP plays critical role in addressing that. Not in helping the employee to understand himself, believe himself, and also whoever discriminates. So, of course, training on the sites, training at the workplace helps management to understand this inclusion and diversity issue. So, EAP actually serves as a central point, bringing employees together. And among some of the programs EAP organize, works is wellness programs, and that also brings togetherness among employees from the various departments and others, so that they will get to know themselves. And through training and orientation, employees get to understand um, inclusiveness and accepting every employee as who or she is, because the workplace is diverse. We all come from different cultural background and even nationalities and all that. So EAP considers cultural context into as critical factor, and it helps employees to embrace each other.
Right. Thank you very much, Frank. EAP creates a forum where employees come together, and when they are educated about the need, the importance of being diverse and working together and all that, they get to understand each other and learn and coordinate and learn how to work as a team irrespective of the diverse backgrounds that they have. Super. Why we want to go for this short break. When we come back, I have some questions and some comments in the comment session. I'm going to read it out when we come back from the break, and then we will continue our discussion. That's a Sedat HR Digest, and we are discussing the importance of employee assistance program at the workplace. Stay glued to your seat. We would be right back. All right, welcome back from the break. This is Sedat HR Digest, brought to us by Sedat Consult and supported by Quick Face Creatives. We are discussing the importance of EAP, Employee Assistance Program, at the workplace, and my resource persons are Ian Kwamina and Frank Ahenkra. And we want to say a very big thank you to them. They have enlightened. I mean, I'm learning a lot. I believe you're also learning. Please share the link to your phone with your friends. Like, comments. Let's come together. Let's learn together. This is a good discussion. This is an educative topic that we don't want to let go. All right, so let me go straight to the comment box. So Angeli says she's watching from East Legon. Thank you. Dinah Intiwa Amwaku says she's watching us from Lashbi. Thank you, Dinah. Mohammed is watching us from Tamale. Anita says that's very important conversation for both employee and the organization in this VUCA world of work. Kudos to the organizers. Thank you, Anita. Maybell says she's watching us from Tichiman. Bunu is. Thank you, Maybell. And I have a question from Daniel Ekufu. Right, Daniel. So I see that you've posted your question 3 times. Okay, same question. And so I'm going to read it out, and our resource persons would help us to answer your question. Daniel says that please, I want to know how presenteeism can affect the process of the organization since the employee is at work always. I want to know how presenteeism can affect the process of the organization since the employee is at work always. Ian, you want to take it first?
Certainly, that,
For us,
that's a great question, because many times we always think about, okay, if the employee is absent, that means they're not working. If the employee is on the job, they clocked in, they're working. We look at, are you getting an honest day's pay for honest day's work? So when we talk about presenteeism, it may be that the employee is at work, but they're unable to give 100% focus and attention to the work that they're doing because they have a personal issue that may be affecting them. Give an example. If you, as an employee, you have a family member that has, let's say, a substance abuse issue, and it's really bad where this person is an addict, it really becomes difficult for you to focus and contribute as you would normally do if you didn't have this issue or concern. So even though I may be present at work, am I engaged? So normally I'm the person where I would be sharing ideas and contributing to the conversation in terms of the creativity of whatever it is we're doing. you may see less of that. So the person may be present, but they're not contributing to the team effort. Another example where it would take someone, let's say, 5 minutes to perform a familiar task, is now taking them a longer period of time because they're not necessarily there. So they may be present in terms of for an 8 hour or 9 hour work day, they're present on the job, but are they being productive for 7 hours of that day, which used to be the norm? So what it is we're seeing that because of these mental health or personal issues or life stresses that persons are experiencing, it becomes very difficult for them to be 100% present, engaged, fully engaged in the work because they have these issues that are affecting them.
Right. Thank you very much, Ian. Frank.
Yes. And to add to Ian's, I think was it last week I had typical example whereby the manager has given the employees I think is it work table indicating hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every hour. You write down what you did. So we discussed that and I laughed over it. And the lady was like, hey, this is strict supervision. Why are we, I mean, and I said, yes, this is where EAP, it helps because where employees are engaged, they are psychologically safe or healthy, or the environment is psychologically healthy. You don't push somebody, an employee, to work. They feel, I mean, they come out freely to work. So as Ian pointed it out, I am here, but I'm off. We even it happens even to us in our usual conversation. Sometimes you may be having a conversation with somebody and you will realize the person is, I mean, psychologically absent from you. So you can say, hey, I'm talking to you. Are you there? Are you here? Are you all right? So that is basically what happens at the workplace in terms of presenteeism. The person is there all right, and if you calculate or accumulate actual productive hours, the person spends 8 hours at work, but productive work hours would be about 4 hours because the person was hardly engaged with personal, mental health, or work-related issues. So that is how presenteeism affects organizations. So employees will be coming to work all right, but in terms of production, if we take it to the production side, if a day's produce would have to be about 100, they will spend the 8 hours on site at work, all right, but they may end up producing 70, even though he has come to work. And that, I mean, is how presenteeism affects organization.
Right. Thank you very much, Ian. Daniel, I hope you've been answered. Let's give us feedback on the response. Let us know you are okay or why. So still in the comment box, Debbie says she's watching us from Kanishi. Jerome says very refreshing and educative session. Thank you very much, Jerome. Eugenia says, watching you from Bolga, really enjoying the submissions and being informed. Thank you. That is why I said at HR Digest, it's always here for you. Our aim is to keep you informed so that you can perform better on the job. Right. So David Nano says ERJ and EAP, are they the same? Ian, ERJ and EAP, are they the same? Why? So Daniel is saying that accurate. Thank you so much. Thank you to Daniel. And Frank, would you help? Okay, Ian is unmuted now.
When you say ERG, I'm not familiar what he's referring to.
Okay, so David, I think you if you can help give us the full meaning of ERG, it will help us so our resource persons I mean, ERJ can mean a lot of things over there.
Yes.
It can mean a lot of things. So please give us a full meaning. I'm sure our resource persons are ready to respond to you. So give us the full meaning, and I'll come back to your question. We'll definitely respond to your question before we leave. But let me go to my resource persons and wow, our time is fast running. I wish we have an hour more so we can talk more. So we want to find out what strategies can organizations use to effectively promote and encourage employee utilization of the EAP services.
All right. So, so Pat, when we talk about this, the strategies, we're really looking at again for the effective use of the EAP, not just having it available, not giving lip service, but effective use. So some of the strategies that we look at is leadership support. A critical piece is that we have to lead by example as management, as leaders. So when we're onboarding the EAP service, it's important for leadership to be part of those sessions so employees can see that management are also employees of the organization and there's a benefit that's available to them. So it's not just simply saying that, okay, we have this service, you all go to this orientation and managers don't show up. That is not setting a good example. It would also be important that for leaders, when employee education sessions are being suggested or being hosted, that again, managers and leaders attend those sessions because it shows that they are supporting the EAP and they see the benefit of it. Another strategy that we look at is company policy. What are the internal policies that we have in place that, yes, we know that the EAP in itself is a voluntary service, but what are the guidelines that we're providing to help managers and supervisors understand how they can utilize the EAP to their benefit, how employers can utilize the EAP as well. So it's very important to have a clear policy that persons understand, that it addresses confidentiality, because that's a big thing. Persons will be like, okay, you're talking about this benefit that's available, but I may not be comfortable using it because my company is paying for it. So you have to ensure that you have a policy that talks about confidentiality and what that looks like. You need to be able to stress on the qualifications and the training that your EAP provider have, that so they have the skill set to be able to provide the support for persons. Another critical piece is our utilization targets, how we go about doing that. It's not just simply, yes, we know that the service is for everyone, but we do recognize that there's some persons who may need some support. So we start by doing a needs assessment, understanding what are the areas employees want to be able to get support on. So once we know what those areas are, we are now more targeted in our approach and more deliberate in terms of what type of sessions that we would be hosting for persons. Another piece is management training. It is important for managers and supervisors to understand that they have a role in promoting the EAP. So it's not so much making the EAP seen as a punishment or disciplinary action, but rather a support. We know that our employees are valuable. We want to we want to ensure that we're providing the tools to be able to help in that regards. And then another piece is the promotional communication, how we communicate, especially when you think of an external EAP. If we talk about out of sight, out of mind. So we have to be really intentional in terms of how we promote the service of the EAP. And it cannot just be through the orientation sessions, but on a continuous basis, what are the things that we're doing? Are we doing e-bulleting or e-videos, short snippets? How are we using social media to leverage the support of the EAP? How, in some instances, we're able to use persons who are comfortable in terms of sharing that they have used the service, not going into details of why they would have used it, but in terms of sharing their testimony as it relates to the EAP. So those are some of the strategies that organizations can really do to help promote usage of the service.
Right. Thank you very much, Ian. All right. So let me go to Frank.
Yeah, to add to Ian's comprehensive list, it's also the initiation, that is the initiation stage. Employees, being engaged to understand the service, very well because mental health, has stigmatization, especially when it comes to our part of the world in Ghana, to be precise. When one colleague once said, we stigmatize mental health, but we don't stigmatize poverty. Somebody is free to say, today I'm broke, but the person feels shy to express mental health issues that he or she is going through. So sometimes employees feel that going assessing EAP means, in quotes, you are mad or you are getting mad or having mental health problems, and that restricts. And another thing here, Ian also made mention of, which is also part of the engagement process, is the confidentiality, especially when it has to do with internal EAP. Give how they should be assured that the person is, the professional is the EAP consultant or the internal EA officer is professional in that whatever is being discussed or addressed, remains between the two of you, and it does not go because people may feel reluctant to share their marital problems with an officer at the workplace. So that is another engagement. When employees get to have these basic understandings, it also increases their engagement or patronage in the EA service.
Or right, when employees have basic understanding, it helps with easy utilization, and you don't struggle to get them to utilize the services of EAP put in place. And like Ian also said, management must lead the way, leadership. Everything rises and falls with leadership. And so leaders must lead the way, model the way. Let them see you utilizing it when it's necessary for you to use. Get people to share their testimonies. And the most important thing is that you need to assure them of confidentiality. And like Frank has said, people feel reluctant sharing their non-work related issues that are bothering them because they feel that the information will go out there. I believe so strongly that if we encourage them and if we assure them of confidentiality, the utilization and promotion of EAP services will not be difficult for us at all as leaders in the organization, as HR practitioners, and as managers leading people. So let's assure confidentiality, and I believe that plays a very key role. All right, so we would respond to Davy's question to end the discussion. So let me just ask this last question, and then we can move to Davy's question. So I want to find out, in a setting, an organization where there's nothing like EAP services program, nothing like that's in place. What steps can the leaders of such organization take to ensure that such is in place?
So one of the things it's definitely doing well. I start by what is the type of culture that you want to be able to create in your organization? What is important? Do we value our employee well-being? And if it is we do value employee well-being, what are the things that we want to be able to put in place? And again, it shouldn't simply be something to check the box, but rather, if you're putting something in place, what are the policies and the systems that we're putting in to be able to support the things that we're doing? So that's one of the critical questions that we would want leaders to start by asking. Once they recognize that, okay, the well-being of the employee is important because it does tie to productivity, what are some of the solutions? And of course, one of that solution is the EAP. So start with getting more information, reaching out to your employee assistance professional association, be it locally or internationally, to be able to understand what an EAP is, what an EAP should look like in my context. Because we do know that there are internal EAPs where the organization may have on staff an EAP counselor to provide that support. Then another model would be you have someone external to be able to provide that support. And in some instances, it may be a hybrid approach. So really understanding your organization needs, reaching out to the EAP association to be able to understand fully what is an EAP, what are the essential elements of an EAP, and of course, ways to go about evaluating the EAP, right? So it helps you in terms of going through that tendering or that request for proposal process. What are the things that you would definitely want? And of course, how do you get the most out of your selected EAP program? So you definitely want to be able to start with having a conversation with the Employer Assistance Program Association so you can understand what an EAP is, what it looks like, and therefore how do I go about that process. So that's where you'd want to start. Mhm.
or why.
Yes,
So if you want
thanks,
to,
Ian, for that. Just to add a bit to Grace,
sure, Frank.
that's comprehensive list as Ian has said. I once had an encounter with a colleague, a friend who inquired about EAP and was like, she's HR manager, and said, "Oh, I've heard EAP is, having, you can make a call and then they will assist." So that is it. One aspect is we do term counseling, workplace counseling as the EAP, but EAP, entails a lot. It has about 8 components that make a complete EAP, and that is where some of us we come in. So another step is management also contacting a consultant or somebody who has specialization or intensive knowledge in EAP so that they can be educated and then enlightened, and then will based on that they will be able to choose even the models and even the service, the kind of services and those who may be assessing the service as to whether the employees alone or employees and their registered partners and all that.
Right, thank you very much, Frank. So, if you want to put in place an EAP structure in your organization, you can get in touch, and you need like they said, you need a professional, you need somebody to advise you. Get in touch with Sedat Consults. We would link you to Frank or Ian to help you out. When you get in touch with us, we would definitely connect you. And I have Jerome says that I will also add that in such situations without EAP policy, the hr or manager the HR or manager should liaise with the institution's welfare association in help in to help in the EAP area. So what Jerome is saying that in the absence of EAP policy, the HR or the manager can liaise with the institution's welfare association to help to address or to provide the EAP services for you. Definitely, you want to get in touch with a professional to help you. So get in touch with us at Sadat's Consult, and we will link you to a professional if you don't have any, or you don't know how to reach out to them. And again, you can also follow what Jerome has just shared with us. So why? So we want to go to David's question, and so what will happen is that when our resource persons respond to it, they would end their response by giving us their final comment so that immediately they are done, we can end. We are some few minutes behind time, right? So Jerome came back to clarify. He says ERJ is Employee Resource Group. So he's asking that Employee Resource Group and Employee Assistance Program, are they the same?
All right, so the two different. So when we think about employee resource group, it's more so a peer support where you have employees who share similar interests, or we call it mutual aid, all in the same boat type of phenomena, where they're able to provide that guidance for persons. So it's more peer support, whereas on EAP, it's you have trained professionals who are credentialed to be able to provide the counseling, the short-term problem resolution, the consultation, etc., for the individual employee, as well as the organization who is also a client. In terms of final words, I would say that the case of for an EAP is strong, as evidence in most organizations moving on board, recognizing that in order to address productivity and performance in the workplace, we need to have a support, a unique approach in addressing those needs. And the EAP does that. So by us here sharing this information with you all who are HR practitioners, it really puts you in a place where you have the information where you can now make a more educated decision when it comes to these services and who your service provider would be to meet the best needs of you and your organization. So I want to wish you all the best.
Why, thank you. All the best to Ian. Frank,
Yes, EAP, as I say my definition for safety, for instance, where I say where employee is psychologically absent is as bad as I mean sound employee operating faulty machine. EAP has proven, as Ian indicated, and many researchers have proven that EAP is, I would say, it's emerging in Ghana. It's quite new or very new, and we have few professionals in Ghana here. So as HR managers and HR practitioners, our role is to help our employees to be healthy and productive so as to help organizations meet their goals. And helping employees to be healthy is not just about or only their physical well-being or health, but their psychosocial aspect as well. And that is where EAP does the magic. So let's embrace it. Mental health, workplace mental health has become critical issue in managing workplace productivity. And I will encourage our HR professionals or practitioners to start engaging EA professionals to assist them in establishing it or even piloting, because there are some organizations in Ghana that have started piloting EA, government institutions that have started piloting EAPs. The international companies in Ghana, some have, began implementing it, and they are yielding results. So I will encourage us to inform management as we leave, and then start engaging professionals to start, it from there. Thank you, everyone, and thank you once again, Pat.
why, thank you very much, Frank. David, please get in touch with us. Give us feedback if the response, yeah, okay. Please give us feedback. We need your feedback. Why, thank you so much, everyone, for joining and tuning in to today's episode. We discussed the importance of employee assistance program at the workplace. If you are an HR professional, you are a manager, you just don't want to take for granted the mental health of your employees. Put in place a system that will help them to be productive. And from today's discussion, we have gotten to know the benefit of EAP. We've gotten to know the two main clients, the organization and the employees. When your employees are sort of when your employees are sound, when your employees are well taken care of mentally, when your employees have a system or when there are systems in place where employees can assess when it comes to their mental health, trust me, they will give you what you need. And we've understood today that an effective EAP program or service in place will help one to prevent presenteeism, where employees are at the workplace but they are not there. What they have to work for 8 hours, though they are in the company, they came at 8 a.m., they will be there, they will pick their back at 5 p.m. when they have to work, and yet they haven't been productive. They have just worked, their productivity hours is just 3 hours, 4 hours. In some instances, you get people not doing anything at all. But if you have a good system, a good, effective, implemented EAP system in place, you will notice that all these issues will be dealt with for you. It will help to address burnout and stress issues. Your employees will always be healthy and they will be productive. They will feel more engaged. They will be happy coming to work because they know that should there be any work related or non work related issue, they know where to go to. And again, we say leaders model the way, show the way, put in place policies that will help your employees, that will help the people you work with. And so, please, 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 as said that HR Digest, we just don't bring the resource persons to come and share ideas with us and we don't go and work with it. They have shown us the way. They have given us information. Please go work with us and make an impact in the organization. Let the people you work with be happy. Let the people you work for be happy. This is Sadat HR Digest. Next week, we'll be coming your way with another interesting topic that will help you impact your organization positively. Once a very big thank you to all of you, and we will share the link to this discussion so those who are not able to join would have access to what we discussed. And also, if you joined, you would also listen to have opportunity to listen to it over and over again and get it deep down. We need this. We need this. Frank says it's new in Ghana, but definitely we will get there. So get the information before we get there. Thank you so much. And hey, don't forget the Maiden Sedat HR conference happening in Kumasi on the 19th of October. And we are coming to Kumasi. We have experts we are bringing on board to come and share their experience with us, tell us what to do, give us an idea, show us the way so that we would also impact and we would also be the best versions of ourselves, as a platform where we will network, a platform where we will share ideas, a platform where we will learn together. And so you want to make your way to the Sadat HR conference. If you stay or if you reside in Kumasi, in and around Kumasi, or even if you are in Accra and you want to move to Kumasi, you are welcome. Please, we have shared the link all over. Click on it to register. Let us know you are coming, and we'll be very glad to receive and welcome you at our maiden HR conference in Kumasi. Thank you so much. My name is Patience Crunchy, and I hosted the show for today. I'll see you next week, and you don't want to miss. Please like, comment, share on all our social media platforms, and it would you would definitely learn. You would definitely relearn, and you would definitely unlearn. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Bye.